representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500-plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100-plus authorized training partners and 50-plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry-level to executive leadership. To interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000-plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best practices. Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. For 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, Tech Target, People Managing People. We offer 100-plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile Scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100-plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500-plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100-plus authorized training partners and 50-plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry-level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000-plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best practices. Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. For 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, Tech Target, People Managing People. We offer 100-plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile Scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100-plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500-plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100 plus authorized training partners and 50 plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000 plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best practices.
Hello everyone, very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you're watching this session from. Please drop your locations in the chat box. We would love to see your locations, and it's always good to see how global audience is joining us. So allow me a minute. I'll be sharing my slides and we can start with the today's session. Here we go. I hope you all can see my slide. Thank you so much again. I would love to give you all a very warm welcome to our series GSDC Certified Learning, Leadership and Learning Analytics Driving Measurable Performance, with a theme that is why learning analytics is a leadership priority in 2026. My name is Freedom. I'll be here as moderator. Feel free to use the chat box in case if you have any question or concern, and I'm very happy to see you all. So, what site, which you can see we do have this incredible panel of speakers signed up for this entire week. So this is happening with the same time slot that you have joined right now. And sorry about the slides. And also you can use the same registration link to join the upcoming sessions as well. And before I could hand over the session to our speaker today, would love to quickly introduce our hosting organization, GSDC. We known as Global Skill Development Council. We are vendor agnostic, vendor neutral, and we are globally recognized certification body. Also, I'm very proud to inform you all that we do have 100 plus certification portfolio with us so far. We have certified more than 250,000 professionals worldwide. Also, we are in association with 1,000 plus multinational corporates, 500 Fortune companies, 50 plus universities across the globe. And also, another proud thing that we are accredited by ABICB. And as I mentioned, we do have 100 plus authorized training partner. We do have training partners across all the regions. So a big thanks to all of our training partners for supporting us and helping us for the improvements of our programs. And those individuals who have joined us through our training partner channel, really thanks to you all. In case if you're looking for any training program for yourself, feel free to reach out to our training partners to have an inquiry about the training programs. I will share the contact details shortly in the chat box. A special thanks to our official media partner, World Press Hub. They cover all our events and press releases. A quick introduction to the lifelong learning initiative that we have introduced in the GSTC earlier. So this is the platform where we are providing 100 plus live sessions on AI, which is led by global experts, where you will be getting 4 daily sessions, which is 45 minutes of live impactful sessions along with the hands-on learning, where you can apply all the concepts immediately and all your questions will be answered on real-time basis with the help of our subject matter experts and our global leaders, right? So this training is aligned with the industry standards for the job ready skills, absolutely. And I believe this is an amazing opportunity to learn from the AI leaders, global leaders, right? So get in touch with the learning advisors for more information and how to access the GSTC AI Studio. They're always there to help you all with this entire process. You will find the contact details shortly in the chat box. And this is an introduction to our certification portfolio, which is specifically designed for our professionals out there who are looking to upskill themselves or who want to stay industry relevant in this AI era, right? So we do have certification offerings in learning and development, HR, generative AI, agentic AI, emerging technologies, also lead auditor, implementer, project management, PMO, agile DevOps, SRE, cybersecurity, digital transformation, and so on. So in case if you're looking for any of this certification in order to upskill yourself, feel free to reach out to our learning advisors to get more information or visit our website, which is www.gsdcouncil.org, to check information about all the certification and other offerings that GSDC has for all of you. And a quick introduction to all the benefits you'll be getting if you opt out a certification from GSDC. You will be getting lifelong membership with GSDC. With that, you'll be getting all these benefits where you can upgrade your certificates. You'll be getting free access to all of our workshop, boot camps, event, and guess what? We'll be getting free access to all of our exclusive learning program, learning club that we have. With that, you'll be getting implementation resources, speaker invites, and newsletter. A lot of benefits, right? So if you're looking to understand more about these benefits in a better way, reach out to our learning advisors. They're always there to provide the entire information about all the certifications that we have in different domains, also with all the benefits that you'll be getting. And also, in case if you're looking for any partnership with GSTC, feel free to reach out to the relevant spot which is mentioned in the slide. Take a screenshot of it. Also, I'll share the screenshot in the chat box for your convenience. You can reach out to them to have an inquiry about whether, in case if you're looking for any individual certifications, or whether it's university academics partnership, enterprise level B2B, direct to organization, or it's authorized training partnership, which is ATP. Feel free to reach out to them to have further inquiries. And without any further delay, I'm very happy to introduce our today's speaker, Dimitar. He's a result-driven learning and development manager and certified Prince 2 professional with over 15 years of experience in operations and talent development. He specializes in building and scaling learning programs within fast-paced, high-growth environments. Dimitar's career is defined by his ability to bridge the gap between complex operational needs and people-centric development. During his tenure at Amazon Logistics, he led large-scale process standardization, cross-functional training initiatives, and comprehensive onboarding strategies. A versatile communicator, Dimitar holds a Bachelor of Engineering and a conservatory diploma in acting and public speaking from Second City, Chicago. This unique blend of analytical mindset and stage presence makes him an efficient communicator and practical engaging facilitator. Thank you so much, Dimitar, for joining us. Let's explore today's topic that he'll be presenting, that is designing an effective annual learning and development training calendar, a strategic approach for maximum business impact. Thank you, Dimitar, for joining us. We are really excited to your session today. You can have the hand of the mic now. Thank you.
Thank you, Pradam. Hi, everybody. Nice to be here. Thank you all for joining and watching us through various channels. My name is Dimitar, and as Pradam said, I am a learning and development manager, as well as a project manager. I have a very extensive experience in logistics, as well as talent development and learning. And a few things about me before we start. I am from Bulgaria, in case you were wondering, but I did live abroad for almost half of my life. I graduated university in my hometown. My hometown is called Gabrovo. It's a smaller town in the middle of Bulgaria. But after I graduated, I moved to the United States, and I lived there for over 12 years, where I mainly worked in logistics and transportation. And also, you might have heard, I also have a diploma in acting. I did this as a hobby initially, but it quickly grew on me, and I started being more active. And yeah, I didn't make any money out of this, but I did learn a lot. It helped me a lot with my self-confidence, and it helped me my facilitation skills, if you would. A fun fact, I was the #1 Bulgarian comedian in Chicago for 5 consecutive years. And there's a good reason for it, and it is that I was the only one. There was no other Bulgarians doing comedy in Chicago. So here's a little motivation for you. If you feel down, what you have to do is find something that no one else is doing and be the world champion of that. Here's a snip for social media for you. Also, I am a English Lord. I don't know if that was mentioned. It is, it's not as hard getting a lordship. I don't know if you can see it. I'm not lying. All you have to do is go on the internet, and against $30, You could be a lord too. It feels like I'm promoting this. Actually, don't buy it because that will make me less special. I want to be the only lord in learning for as long as possible. All right. Enough about my made-up achievements. I'm here to talk to you about learning. In particular, we're gonna discuss today how to build an effective annual training calendar that brings you the desired business impact. Now, when I'm thinking about the annual calendar, I'm really gonna take a different approach, perhaps from what some of you might be expecting. I won't be focusing so much on design, on any training methodologies, but I want to look at the management side of things and the strategy side of things. When I'm thinking about an annual training calendar, what that is essentially, it's a group of various training activities that are happening throughout the year. But the main part of this is the training activities themselves. So what is an effective way to build a training activity, or I would call it a training or a learning program for the sake of this meeting. And my focus will start there. What I'm going to show you today is my personal approach, something that I've practiced in the past and I'm going to be practicing probably in the future when I'm working on training programs, is use a certain methodology, certain principles that I would apply in building the best and most comprehensive training program that meets the business needs, and it is it has a certain level of business justification. When we think about business impact, that's the key point here, because in learning, oftentimes we think in a way of, wouldn't it be cool if we have a training for this, or wouldn't it be cool if we create an e-learning about that? Something that feels cool or interesting is great, but if it doesn't bring any value to the business, then it might not be worth investing in. So this is one of the key elements when we build an effective training program, is always keep in touch with the business and find out what the exact needs are and work on fulfilling them. And by having this check always throughout our work, we also protect ourselves from something called scope creep. Scope creep means additional tasks that might be added to your original plan as you're building it, which might increase the need for resources, time, etc. But all those extra tasks might not be valuable. So by always having that check, what I'm building, how valuable this is for the business, that will keep you right on track. So what are we gonna look into today? I'm gonna share my screen now again, and I'm gonna show you really quickly. Uh, Please drop me some thumbs up in the chat when you start seeing my screen, just so I know that we are looking good. Yep, excellent. So this is how we're gonna go. We have about an hour, and at the end we're gonna take 10 to 15 minutes. If you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to try to answer them. And before we get there, what we're gonna focus is this: what are the main business approaches, principles, and practices that I like to use personally while building a product? It could be a project, it could be a learning program. I pretty much treat it the same way, because if you think about what a project is, it's a temporary organization within a larger org that works through introducing controlled changes in order to bring certain business impact. Well, when you're building a new training program, that's what you're introducing yourself. So a lot of those principles, even though they're mainly for project management, would work nicely for us. And also that will give us a very good and detailed framework, uh, so that we build our program and not miss any important details that might cause us problems down the line. So we're going to start with uh, the guiding principles that I like to use. Then I'll try to translate those into more practical, learning-oriented tasks the collection of which will build my program. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to give you a simple example, a simple case study uh, for a made-up company or made-up organization with a particular need, and we're going to follow those tasks, those steps into building a real program. And once the program is built, we're going to find out how long it takes, and then we're going to put the program in the calendar. The creation of the annual calendar would be the final step, because before you have a very well thought out processes for your program, then what's the use of the calendar? If you build a house on a shaky ground, then this house might collapse eventually. So this is what my main focus would be: build a good program, solid, tick all the boxes, and then start scheduling and planning. So these are the few things we're gonna look into today, and let's begin then. All right. What you see on your screen are guiding principles and practices that I borrowed from the Prince uh, project management methodology. A lot of you might have heard about it. Prince stands for Projects in Controlled Environments. I particularly like it because it it is very comprehensive, but it also provides me a great deal of flexibility, so I can tailor all these principles based on what I have to build. So for my own needs. And you might see that there's a distinction here between principles and then practices. And they are somewhat connected, or I try to illustrate the connection there by aligning them based on how they connect to one another. But to have a proper distinction, principles would be the overall mindset when we work on a project, and the principle and the practices are the practical way of getting there. So you can think of the principles of the why something is important, and the practices would be the how to make this important thing happen. But you will see clearly that are all go hand in hand. And we're going to go over them really quickly. And I'm going to tell you a few words about each of them, and why it would be important for me to include this in my overall process. Now, we're going to start from the top there. And you can see the first principle says that you have to ensure continuous business justification. Well, that is something I already mentioned at the beginning. That is the core of everything you're doing. If you're not bringing value to the company, uh, then you might be expending resources that you could use elsewhere. So always have to know what is the benefit that you're bringing with your program, and not only know that at the beginning, but constantly keep checking and revising and updating the business justification throughout the program after each iteration, because ultimately once your program stops bringing value, then that might be a good time to change your priorities and focus your resources elsewhere. And what practices we use? Well, it's called the business case. A business case is all of your documentation that describes what you're doing, why you're doing it, uh, and gives you internal mechanisms of how to keep track of what I just said, how to find out that this is valuable, how to keep track if it continues to be valuable, etc. Now, then after we define why this is important, then what we want is to define roles and responsibilities. Now, naturally, in a project, the the baseline would probably be that you would work with various different employees throughout your organizations that bring you certain skill sets in order to build your project. Uh, but in learning, it's not too much different. Now, a lot of learning teams are very small. They have a couple of managers, maybe a couple of instructors. So you often have to collaborate with the business, with the different teams that you're providing support to, in order to build your training content, perhaps, or to find out, for example, what the business need is that you're working on. So it is very important, even if it's your own team, everybody on the team will have a certain set of tasks. So they have to know what they are and be very clear what the expectations are from everybody. And you're doing this by creating an organizational a practice, which is all of your mechanisms if uh, defining who needs to do what. Usually, and you're going to see later on, the most popular way is creating something called a RASI table, or responsible, accountable, consult, and informed table for every task and every member of your stakeholders. Now, once you do that, then of course you have to, your main focus is the product. In this case, it's the training, not only the content itself, but the overall experience that you provide to your audience. Now, that is true for every product that you're working on, and learning is no exception. A very good, thought out uh, training program is a very good product, and you should aim to keep it up to a high standard. And you're doing that through the quality practice, which is you have to put uh, a mechanism in place to find out if your program is well done, is it well delivered. And oftentimes in learning, we use metrics as the NPS or Net Promoter Score, and or a CSAT, which is a satisfaction score. Of course, there are multiple other scores, multiple other metrics that you might be using, depending on your program and on your organization. Now, manage by stages. That seems maybe confusing, maybe straightforward, but it is very important that we start somewhere in order to get to the end. And we can't do everything at once. So you have to plan everything in stages where you build some of the work, then you build on what you've already done until the entire work is done. A very simple example. If you're planning something, well, usually you have a planning first, so the planning stage, then the execution, for example, the actual training delivery, and then you probably want to have a review at the end. So you're going to have a review stage, or maybe you call it control stage. So even in a simple training, you still have several stages to go through, and each of them depends on the one before it. So it's very important to plan all of your stages carefully and independently. And you do this by making plans. Pretty straightforward. Now, manage by exception is interesting for project management, and maybe it's not as applicable in learning, but I think it could be. Manage by exceptions means once you establish your standard um, approach, well, even if it's not standard, it is what you establish by building your program. You want everything to go according to your plan. So any action or any activity or anything that happens that is outside of your plan, it needs to be reviewed. And uh, you might need to have an escalation metrics in place. For example, if you're expecting a member of a team um, to send a communication by a certain time, and this is not done, then you might want to go in and talk to this person. If they're not available, you go up the metrics there, and and you do this by controlling your progress work. For every stage, you want a certain number of tasks with certain ETAs. You're constantly monitoring how everything is going, and you communicate accordingly to the various stakeholders that are involved. And another one that is very important, it's called the learn from experience. Obviously, we try our best to build the perfect product, right? One of the previous principle says that focus on the product, but we can never make it perfect. There's always opportunity to improve what we do, and it's important to review what we've done in the past and see what worked well and what didn't work according to our expectations. So what is good we keep, what is not so good maybe we try to improve. And how we do that? Well, by collecting issues. In project management, issue is any event that happens that has an impact on our project. In our case, our training program. Well, by nature or by definition, issues are not uh, necessarily good or bad. They're just things that happen that have an effect on us. Some issues might be positive. We usually refer to those as opportunities. Maybe there's an opportunity to explore, or there's an opportunity to improve something that is already pretty good, but it could be better. Or if it's a bad thing that happens, then we usually call those threats and we try to eliminate them or minimize them. In any case, we want to make sure that we collect every issue that happens and then review it. And finally, tailor to suit the project. So this is where the flexibility comes from all these principles. Now you have all those guiding principles and practices, but every organization is different. Every situation that leads to training might be different. Uh, the scope could be different. The organizational structure could be more complex or not. So what you have to do is you always have to know your environment. If you know your environment, only then you'll be able to make the most effective decisions to build a product that works for that environment and therefore satisfies the need and the business case. And and the practice here, maybe uh, not so much obvious relations between a practice and a principle as the previous ones, but risks are always there. So by knowing your organization, you could potentially predict potential issues that might happen. So here's the distinction here between an issue and a risk. An issue is an occurrence that is happening currently or it has happened in the past. And then you review it and try to make a plan for improvement. A risk is an occurrence that hasn't happened yet, but if it happens, then it will have an impact on our program or a project. And then we need to be ready for it. We need to find out what the potential risks are and to find out how much of an effect they will have on our program. And then we have to create a plan to mitigate or simply to manage those risks. So these are the guiding principles and practices I like to follow. To me, they make sense. And also you see there's quite a few of them. So that gives you a pretty good framework to build your program on without missing anything important. So with all of that, let's see how we would translate that into uh, let's call them learning tasks for building our program. So I want to transfer this into practical terms, and I've built something like a task list or checklist for every program that I built. I have this, and I go row by row, one by one, and see if I've examined that. Do I have the information that I require to manage it, and then I move forward. So those would be here. So as you can see, there's quite a few of them. I try to categorize them, and I also try to sort them in a way uh, in a way that I would approach them, like chronologically. Of course, if you are uh, gonna work on your own training program, not everything that I set in a particular order have to be in that particular order. You can manage it the way you see fit for your potential personal needs. So I'm going to go one by one. And again, I'll tell you a few words about each of those. And I hope that you find through my explanation the connection to the principles and practices that we already talked about. But this is more practical. Now, we start with the program description. Well, this is what I start. The first thing I want to know is, well, what are we building here? And in order for me to understand it well, I have a few tasks that I have to go in and examine. For example, what is the program goal? Well, of course, this goes straight away alongside the business justification. In order to have a program, it needs to achieve something. So what is that? I have to go and find the answer before I move forward. And then by finding that, I'm going to try to highlight those so you can keep track. What will be the business impact? So I'm building something towards a particular goal. Will this give me the benefits that I want? And then in order for me to find out if it does or it doesn't, well, I need to find me a measurable methods. I need to have a particular key metrics intact with set targets. That's how we find out if our particular program has the desired effect or not. Now, since this is learning, we need to know our target audience. Some trainings, they might have to be org wide, especially when it comes to any safety policies, for example. But there's a lot of trainings that are happening because there are particular needs in a particular part of the organization. In which case, then we're going to target the audience that is affected, and that will make us a lot more effective than spreading a org wide training when only part of the organization needs it. That would be a waste. And then, you know, knowing your audience is great, but also you want to know all of your stakeholders. By definition, a stakeholder is anyone who is involved in the project or your program or is affected by it. Now, obviously, the audience would be affected. They will be receiving the training, but there's also other members like the manager, you, me, who works on the training program. Maybe there are instructors, maybe there are SMEs from the team to help you build your content correctly, and also there are the customer or the business itself, or maybe it's an external customer. You are building a training for someone outside of your organization. So all of those people will be affected by the training. You need to know who they are. And then you got to have your resources. Well, resources generally would mean, well, the manpower or the people who would be involved in the training content, delivery of the training, uh, but also any documentation that will be useful for you. For example, standard operational procedure, SOPs. They are very common and they are great resource for instructors to build training that matches exactly the processes within the organization. And you have to know your resources because you have to plan how to use them effectively. Now, another thing that, and this will come, will become important towards the end. It's the key constraints, and this goes back to tailor to suit the project. You have to know your organization. You have to know what limitations you have. For example, the most obvious one would be don't do trainings during any official bank holidays, for example. So when you're building your calendar, you have to keep that in mind and avoid those. But there might be multiple other constraints. For example, certain people might be available on certain days. People might be working in different shifts. So in order to connect with them, you might have to be more flexible. Now, you have to know that in order to manage your program correctly. And then finally here, it's the definition of success. Well, obviously we have the metrics, but you also want to know how long should we keep doing this program? For how do we know when this is complete? This is more kind of relevant for projects, but it could work for your training program. Usually the definition of success will be part of your business justification, and it will be worked out alongside your customers. Now, in terms of roles and responsibilities, I mentioned the RASI table earlier. It is a simple table. I have an example here with the responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed with their letters. Sprinkled across the table, on one side you have all the tasks, and on the other side you have all of your stakeholders. This is one of the easiest ways to map the expectations from each of the stakeholders. So there's not too much to it. We're going to see an example version of that in a minute. Now, when it comes to risks, now in learning, you might think, well, maybe there's not a lot of risks there, but you still should check. Define the risks, analyze the probability, how likely it is to happen, and the impact of how much this would make an impact. And also, if you discover risks, well, make sure you have a plan to manage them. When it comes to your training plan, well, obviously you have to assess the training needs. That comes back to the business justification. Make sure you know why you're doing the training and what need you're trying to satisfy. Then review all of your resources. Make sure that you have all the training materials, maybe old presentations, the current SOPs, so you can have a high quality training. Also define and appoint any SMEs. For example, you might have an instructor to deliver the training, but they might not be up to speed on all the processes on shift. So maybe you have a senior operator to help you, or maybe one of the managers who's an expert on a particular subject matter. You can use them to create the content, to help you create the content, so your content is as relevant as possible. And then you have to build your training content. Now, uh, exceptions criteria, this goes back to manage by exception. Create a plan, agree to it, and anything that is not aligned with the plan, you go and escalate accordingly. And again, in training and in other projects as well, you have to have a very good communication strategy. What's the point of creating a training program if people don't know it exists and don't join the training sessions? Well, you can do it in various of ways. That would again depend on your organization, its size, complexity, etc. But always make sure you have key touch points with the stakeholders through various meetings, reminders, emails, messages in Slack channels, for example. And of course, make sure you report any of your stages when you start the planning. Make sure that all the stakeholders know when the planning starts and what is required from them. Then, of course, make sure you promote your event so people join it. Report progress. If your event is over a period of time, you want to make sure that everybody is informed of how the training is going, how many people you trained, what the audience already thinks about the training, etc. Ooh, apology there. Uh, then at the end, you would report the collective results from the entire training program, and after that, you would want to plan a review. And the review, of course, you have to set the meetings, send the various communications, emails for everybody who needs to join in order to review the lessons learned, which we're going to touch on in a second as well. And then the training quality. Make sure that all your resources are updated, inspected, and updated before you start using them. You want to make sure your training is high quality and it's relevant to the current state of the business. And then set some performance metrics. I mentioned the MPS and CSAT already, but there's a various of other metrics you can use. You can use instructor performance metrics. You can break them down even further, depending again on your needs. And as we mentioned earlier, record any issues. Find yourself a way to record everything that happens, good or bad, and then at the end you're going to review it and see what lessons you can gain out of it. And then again, in learning, we like the survey, right? You have to collect feedback because again, we go back to the business justification. How do you know if something is working? Well, you need to be in touch with all of your stakeholders. Now, many ways you can approach this. Surveys is the most popular one. You can also have periodic focus groups, and you can also be joining various weekly, monthly, quarterly business reviews, and also the lessons learned review that will also give you feedback from your stakeholders. And then the lessons learned, why is that important? Well, we go back to the principle learned from experience. We'll analyze all the issues that happened during the event and review them with the stakeholders, get feedback from them, and then based on that feedback, you can create improvement plans for the next iteration of your program. So now, we covered all of that. It's quite a lot. But I think it's important to have a comprehensive guide in order for you to have all the boxes checked. It will cause you less pain down the line. Now, in order to illustrate this in even more practical terms, I'm going to show you a made-up organization, and we're going to take a look at how all of these tasks would work in that particular case. Now, I took as an example an international logistics and e-commerce company. It works with warehouses and delivers shipments to customers, right? And the particular part of the organization I called Operations Support Office, which is a centralized what you call it, control tower, perhaps, that provides support to various warehouses in Europe, There's a big network, and the team is split in three functions. It's forecasting, predicts the number of shipments that are coming, then scheduling, predicts how many people we need in the warehouse and how many drivers, and sortation sequencing. Based on the addresses of the shipments, we group them together in order to give them to the right drivers before we dispatch them. And the organization is 45 operators across 6 shifts, and we have 6 shift managers, 3 area managers, 1 operations manager, and the director. And this is the org chart. You see, we have the 1 manager, the 3 functions had their own managers. They have support by an area manager, and each shift has uh, a manager for each of the functions, and the operators are there below. Now, imagine now in this org we have a situation. So the situation is this: uh, you receive multiple escalations from the warehouses that you provide support to, saying that they've been delayed because one of your teams, in particularly the sortation sequencing, they are sending the information to the warehouse late, and therefore the warehouse is delaying the shipments and delays its dispatch, which is very important for them to dispatch all the shipments on time. So this has been investigated by the operations manager, and they concluded that this has to do with operators not understanding changes that happen to the process, because there is a quarterly initiative for continuous improvement led by the area manager of that team. But any changes that come from these continuous improvement initiatives are not well understood by the operators, so they take more time to execute the process as it currently is, and that delays them. So now, what is our task? Well, the task is that we need to ensure that all of the operators understand the changes as they happen every quarter after the continuous improvement initiative. And what we want to do is really to create a quarterly training as these changes happen. We upgrade, we refresh the knowledge of all the operators and shift managers on that team, on the sortation functional team, in order for them to be able to execute within the SLA. And the result would be the SLA for sequencing will be within our target, and then we won't have that many escalations from the warehouse. Now, just for additional context, we're saying that the training team consists of 1 manager and 3 instructors. So 1 instructor that is a specialist in each of these functions. So now, what I'll do then, I'll have the basic context, and I'll then go through my checklist. Now, conscious of time a little bit, so we're not going to go too deep, but I want to kind of give you practical links between all the tasks that I mentioned and how they'll correlate to this particular case. Well, we go one by one. The project goal, well, we mentioned it already, to ensure that the operators understand the changes after the quarterly uh, improvements, and so they can execute the process correctly. What's the impact? Well, the impact is in sequencing SLA. SLA would be the time required for the task to be executed. That's what I'm referring to as SLA. And also the dispatch SLA. The business is impacted by the delay of the shipments in the warehouse. Um, the key metrics would be, well, our sequencing SLA. We put a target that it should take no longer than 20 minutes. Of course, I'm making this up, but let's say I went and investigated, and this is what I discovered, right? And then let's say the dispatch SLA should be 45 minutes and no more than 10 escalations per week. So these will be my metrics to track and targets to follow. And this really is giving me my best business justification. This is no longer, oh, I'm doing a training, people love it. Now it's I'm doing a training and it affects the business, eliminates an issue that has been affecting affecting the business negatively. And the target audience, well, it will be all of the people working in the sortation team. Well, as we can see here again, they have 2 shift managers and they got 9 and 9 operators, so 20 people in total. And again, We have to know your audience. We don't experience issues with the other functions, only with sortation, so we're going to target them. Now, stakeholders, well, everybody who is affected by a program. That will be the sortation operations manager, the sortation area manager, the shift managers, and the operators, also the training manager and the instructor. All of these take part in the training where the operators are the main audience, but again, they are affected by the training. What resources we have? Well, we have someone to train. Well, we have the manpower, have the instructor, and we have SOP. This is the SOP is updated after all of the changes. So it is our source of truth when we teach. And the key constraints, and we're going to touch on them in a few minutes as well. That's why I highlighted them. And again, I made them up. But let's say I went and I investigated, and the business tells me no trainings on big sales events. So we're going to have those in the calendar. I'm going to show them to you in a second. I marked a few throughout the year. So this is a constraint. We can't do training in those periods. When we have to have a maximum audience of 6 people per session, maybe, well, because we have a small training room and it only can take up to 6 people. Uh, then we have maximum sessions per week, 2. Well, because this could affect the business. Now, everybody who's in training, they have to leave their tasks, come and be trained, and someone else have to cover for them. So we don't want to stress the business too much. So we agreed, let's say we agreed, that maximum trainings per week would be 2. And and also, the training must happen before the last week of the quarter, because every new quarter we implement the changes from the continuous improvement. So before we implement them, everybody has to be trained. So whenever we schedule the training, has to be before the end of the quarter. So here's some limitations for you to work with. Again, you have to know your environment in order to know how to effectively work around various bottlenecks or constraints. And then definition of success would be if the SLA for sequencing, the sortation sequencing is less than 20 minutes and escalation is before less than 10. And we also want to have quality training. So I want to have MPS and a CSAT. CSAT I put 80 as a score and MPS 70. So if I am within those targets, our program would be considered success. Now I made myself a RASI table. You can see some example tasks that I put in there and all of my stakeholders, and I marked for each of them who's going to be responsible for what. This is important to know because it gives clarity to everybody of what's expected from them and what they should expect from everyone else involved in the project. Now, any risks? Well, it is training, but there could be risks still. For example, I made one up. It is that one instructor is an expert on one function. So I'm going to be using one instructor to deliver the training. But what happens if that person becomes sick and they can't come to work? That will be a problem. It's likely, it's not very likely that it happens. So low probability, but high impact, because if it happens, then I have no training, so I fail. So I have to have, even if it's a simple plan, I have to have a mitigation plan. And in this case, I put, well, I will ensure that all of my instructors have baseline knowledge of all of their functions. And in case someone calls in sick, there is an extra instructor that can step in, read the SOP, and they can still deliver the training effectively. And then the training. Well, we have to assess the training needs, right? The training needs are 20 people, the shift managers and operators. They have to be trained every quarter on any process changes following those continuous improvement actions. Then all of our resources, we have to review them. Well, make sure that the SOP is updated. Whoever's making the changes based on these improvements, make sure it's documented and you're using the latest version of the SOP. Then who might be a good SME for you? Well, I put the area manager because I made them the owner of the continuous improvement. So that'll be the best person to tell you what changes they'll be implementing because they're leading the initiative. So maybe before you do the training content, you want to review with them. And as well, one of the shift managers, because often happens, they might be providing support to the area manager. So you have SMEs to help you in case you have questions. And then again, the instructor will be building the training based on the most relevant latest version of the SOP. Now, expectation criteria, perhaps you have some ETAs in place. For example, when will this SOP be updated so that we can use it to create the training plan? Who's the owner of that SOP? Who will be updating it? And if they don't update it on time, then I cannot carry on. Then I will escalate accordingly to sort this out. Uh, and then we move to communication strategy. Again, if you are going to be doing a long-term training based on these continuing improvements activities, maybe you should participate, be in touch with what's happening, and maybe then you already have the knowledge and you don't have to rely on your SMEs as much. Uh, Also, communicate through various emails, various meetings that you have when you're starting the planning, and also um, use pretty much the same strategy for all your other stages. And at the end, you also make sure you schedule, send the invites to everybody to participate. Not everybody, but all the stakeholders needed to participate in the final review after the training's done. Uh, and what are our resources to review? Well, the SOP, we mentioned this already, but also the training presentation based on the SOP. We want to make sure we review it, not only if it looks good and it's colorful and has animations, but uh, is it correct according to that? Does it match the content in the SOP? So usually you do an extra check, maybe with the shift manager or the area manager. They approve it before you use it in training. And then for the actual training performance, well, we mentioned those, the easiest metrics, CSAT and MPS. Of course, you can use more metrics if required, but those are usually pretty popular. Um, and then record issues. That's straightforward. Find a way to do it. Maybe put them in Excel. Maybe you use a fancy tool. Maybe you use a Jira or Asana, those project management tools. That works. Make sure you collect those so you can review them at the end. And then the collection of feedback, you have various ways to do it. In this case, I'm only going to suggest three. Well, the survey after the training, and then the quarterly business reviews and lessons learned. The quarterly business reviews will be a good place because that will give you some time to not only capture your own performance metrics, but also to see how the metrics that you targeted. Remember the SLA for sortation sequencing and the number of escalations, it might require a few weeks or months to collect good data so you can show the business impact. So a lot of businesses have quarterly reviews. It's a good way for you to showcase what you have and get extra feedback from senior leadership. And then the lessons learned. Well, make sure that schedule this meeting, review the issues, and then create a plan for improvement for the next iteration of your program. So now you have everything in place. Now let's get to the actual coordination. Well, the coordination part would be pretty much based on your constraints, and I bringing them back here on top. So no training on big sales events, maximum audience, 6 people, maximum sessions per week, 2, and the training must happen before the end of the quarter. Well, this is purely coordination for you, right? Let's say I agree that the planning time for this is going to be 1 week, and then the lessons learned, I'm going to do it in another week. And how many weeks I need to execute the complete training? Well, based on it would on the constraints, I can do it in 4 sessions with having 6 participants max. That's maximum of 24. That covers my 20 people. But because I can't do more than 2 sessions per week, then I have to split them 2 and 2. Therefore, my training will take 2 weeks. So in total, my time to deliver this training every quarter would take 4 weeks. And I take this, I call this knowledge refresher training, a very generic name, and I make sure I put my 4 weeks, I split them into planning, delivery, and review. You can see the legend here. And in gray, I mark those sales events throughout the year, make sure I don't schedule any training there. But also make sure that the training is done before the end of the quarter. So this is what I arrange for every quarter and make sure I'm within my constraints. So once I build that for one program, I build all of this for the rest of my programs. And then I can start building a calendar that has a lot more to it. But again, once I build a calendar, it's not so important how many programs you have, how busy you are, but how valuable these programs would be. And by building them in that very comprehensive and detailed way, we will ensure that. Now, purely for coordination, I put more trainings here. I'm not sure if you're interested in too much, but SOP audit, maybe you're running it. Maybe there's a different part of the org. For example, the quality department is doing that, but that can also go on the calendar because it does affect training, right? That's one of your main resources. You can have your onboarding, which is your baseline. You have to put the onboarding on the calendar. You have your refresher, what we've been working on today, but you might have any specific on floor operations. For example, you send people from the office into the warehouse to see exactly if they delay their SLA, how that delays the dispatch. They can see it firsthand and understand the impact themselves better. You can also have e-learnings that you want to review. And maybe we have other trainings on leadership principles or maybe certification trainings, right? Um, but you can have external trainings. Maybe you want to provide training to the people in the warehouse to understand how you do the sortation sequencing so they can work with you better when you exchange communication. Now, the main pure coordination part here would be you don't have to overdo it. Now, you don't have to have trainings every week because that might feel suffocating to the audience, and you would feel that in your survey results. But also think about the impact that the training has on the business. We're talking about the positive one. We're going to eliminate the knowledge gaps. We're going to improve the performance. But in order to do the training, got to take people out of shift for a particular period, and that could affect operations. So you have to aim for a good balance of having trainings available periodically, um, but also ensure that you're not putting any strain on the business, but because then you might be a lead cause of defects, uh, and um, and then there's no training for that. And the other thing I wanna say is sometimes your training sessions might be overlapping when you put them on the calendar, depending of how many you have. Well, what you need to know first is what resources you have. If I have overlapping trainings, but they are done for different teams, therefore I have different instructors for them, then that might be fine. But if my organization is much smaller and I'm a one person, then I might have to make sure that I don't have any overlapping trainings. Um, and also, if I do have overlapping trainings, then I might have to put a priority on each of those trainings. Again, you work with the business, with your customer, with the senior management, with operations managers to find out what they value most from everything that you can offer. And if that is the case, then you prioritize your trainings. In case there is a conflict, then you go with the highest priority, and this is already aligned with the business. And I think that pretty much covers it. I hope this has been interesting for you. Perhaps for some of you might be useful, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have for me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dimitar, for actually you have represented this training calendar very wonderfully. And this is something that we haven't covered before. So really appreciate for bringing this content in the GSDC. And I hope this is definitely going to be a very helpful for all the learners here, learning and development professionals out there. So thank you so much and looking forward to get questions from participants now. As we're open for the Q&A, we have next 5 to 10 minutes maybe to cover all your questions. And in case if you don't have any question or if you want to reach out to Dimitar's to discuss regarding today's session, feel free to reach out to him. You'll find his LinkedIn profile link in the chat box, right? So let me know if you have any question. I'll wait for next 2 minutes, and after that we'll proceed with the closing. And in the closing, I do have some great announcement for all of you. So please stay connected till the end of the series. And let us know if you have any question. We'll wait. And meanwhile, I'll just quickly check if we got any question across live platform. All right, here we go. I have one question. This question is from Sarah. She's asking what frameworks or methods do you recommend to ensure that an L&D calendar is directly aligned with measurable business outcomes rather than just training completion metrics?
That's right. I mean, that's exactly great question. Very practical. Uh, I hope I stress this enough, but it is the key. The key elements to a good training calendar would be that all of the training activities, all of your programs that you include, bring value to the business. This goes back to the business justification. So I'm following the method that I showed you, and what I try to extract from the business, what I'm investigating before my planning stage even is what is the situation, what has happened that might require training. And oftentimes the businesses think that if there's an issue somewhere, someone doesn't know something, the training would fix it. That might not be the case. And it's important to constantly uh, keep connected to, to your stakeholders, to your customers, I like to call them. So if I am a team that provides support to various parts of the organization, those are my customers. So I have to have at least a representative from each team, maybe one of the area managers, maybe an operations manager that I'm in regular contact with. And when these discussions happen, when there is an issue, you have to actively participate in those discussions to find out whether the training is the solution to the problem. And by having those discussions, you would inevitably get to particular metrics uh, that would show you that there is a problem, right? And those metrics would then be the core of of the justification of you starting to build a training program. And the good part is if the teams are already tracking this and this is how they found out there is an issue, all you have to do is borrow their metrics. Uh, Find a way to gain access to them, whether you have access to the to the database or you receive occasional reports, maybe weekly, maybe monthly, and you can keep track on how these metrics are moving in time. And this is why it's important to do the initial discovery or the initial discussion, because if the metrics are moving in certain direction but there are many variables, there maybe uh, various things that might affect the metric to move in a particular way, then you might not be certain that the training uh, is the cause of the metrics moving if there are other factors. So that's why in the initial investigation, you want to make sure that you cover all the bases, use really good root cause analysis method. You know, the popular ones are the 5 whys or the fishbone. And then after you check all the other possible causes of the problem, then you find out that the training is the solution, then you can be comfortable that the move in the team's metrics is affected by what you did. And that's why you have your proof that your program works, and you also have your satisfaction metrics to show that you're really good and how you do it. Hopefully that answers the,
Absolutely, it does.
yeah.
Thank you so much for detailed explanation, Dimitar. So, as we're running quite of time, schedule time, we'll stop here with the Q&A and we'll look forward to have you for another session as well. And before I take the handover back, we would love to hear final thoughts from you as we heard a lot of amazing thoughts, but still, maybe a thank you note for all our participants here who joined us.
Yeah, I would like to thank everybody for joining, and I want to thank you for inviting me to participate. It's been a great experience. I hope everybody found the topic interesting. What I'm going to say is, hey, make sure that you're constantly curious and learn even even methods, approaches that might not be directly uh, linked to what your particular function is, because the more you know around you, the more you know your environment, the better your decision making would be. You know, we go back to the principle to tailor to suit the project, but to tailor, you have to understand your constraints, you have to understand your environment. So if you're working in learning, learn about continuous improvement, learn about project management, learn all these methodologies because they can only inform you to make better decisions and be more in line with the business, and that will make your work more effective and simple.
Right. Well, thank you very much for sharing such a beautiful thoughts. And we really loved your today's session. And as I mentioned, that we'll look forward to have more collaborations with you, Dimitar.
Thank
So it's yeah. Thank you so much, dear participants. As I mentioned, that I do have some great announcement for all of you. So please be on the call till the end. And here we go. So this is regarding the today's featured session we had on regarding the certified learning and development professionals. We have the certification in the GSDC where you can opt out with the certification using L&D20 to get 20% discount on the certification. So the amazing thing about the certification, the certifications are globally recognized ones where you'll be getting learning resources, where you'll be getting the lifelong learnings along with the learning flexibility. Also, you'll be getting chance to connect with our training partner channel, and you'll be having a lot of opportunity to work on capstone project. That is something real-time AI simulation practice, right? So grab this opportunity, do sign up yourself for this certification program, and if you need any assistance with this, get in touch with our learning advisors. You'll find their contact details in the chat box itself. And those who have joined us for the first time, we have been announcing this about this utility tool so far. So we have built this tool for all professionals out there. So how this tool will help you? This tool will help you to level up your profile. It will help you to improve your LinkedIn profile score, your AI skill score. Also, it will help you to build your personal brand. And this tool has a feature where it will create AI generated resumes as well. You can use this AUG100 as a code to get 100% off, and this is only for our webinar attendees, right? So grab this opportunity, check this tool out, as we have got amazing feedbacks from our previous participants who have actually used this tool. And here we go. I have amazing announcement for all of you that we are conducting the panel discussion, an open panel discussion on learning and development in enterprise, where we have already conducted a panel discussion on 21st April, and next panel discussions we'll be having on 21st, 5th May and 21st May. So where we'll be covering the topic that is from learning strategy to business impact, positioning learning and development as a driver of organizational growth. And the next topic will be AI powered learning, how L&D leaders are redesigning skills, strategy, and workforce capability. So do not miss this. This is happening on the same time slot, this on the regular the learning and development track. You can use the same registration link as well to join these panel discussions. And also you can scan this QR for the registration. And there's another great big announcement that I have for all of you, that we are conducting the AI Adoption Virtual Conference where we'll be covering the entire life cycle of AI. We have already done with the value and deploy sessions, panel discussions, and we'll be coming up with more panel discussion, which is schedule on, orchestrate, upskill, and govern. So do not miss, as we do have this industry experts, experts globally will be joining us for this panel discussion to share the insights. So this is happening from 15th April till 30th May 2026 with a different time slot, that is 9:30 p.m. Singapore, 5:30 p.m. GST, 2:30 p.m. BST, 8:30 a.m. CST, and 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So set a reminders for yourself and join this session according to your time zones. And this is a regular AI session that we do conduct on the same time slot that I've announced earlier. So we'll be having these incredible experts lined up for this week. So tomorrow we'll be having the last session. So please do join us, as speaker will be sharing the insights on intelligent automation and governance with AI agent. And there's another track ISO where we'll be having this industry experts will be joining us to share the insights. So do join us for tomorrow's. You'll find all the registration link and the WhatsApp group link in the chat box, so you can register if you haven't. Also, you can refer your friends, colleagues, your peers to our session, and by doing that, you can be our referral champion. You just have to earn 50 or more than 50 points to be winner, and top 3 winners will be featured on the GSTC Wall of Fame, and we'll be getting back to all the winners with the rewards, which is worth $400, right? So referring people to session like this knowledge something that you are taking step ahead and becoming thoughtful leader, isn't it? So do refer maximum people, as I mentioned that we'll be announcing all the final winners at the end of this series. And GSDC would like to introduce the spotlight of the week. So we have started this since last week. So It's very simple. What you have to do, you have to share your learning stories, your learning key aways, takeaways over the social media and tag GSDC. Also, we'll be picking up one of the best stories that we find, and we'll be making that professional as a spotlight of the week. And that professional will be getting a fame and recognition across all our platforms, right? So please do share your stories because we would love to hear them. And this is our platform, global platform. In case if you're looking for any speaking opportunity at GSDC, feel free to share your speaker profile with us. We do have platforms like Learning Capsule, webinar, and podcast, right? So we are often conducting webinars, panel discussions these days. So feel free to share your speaker profile with us. We'll make sure that your profile is being reviewed, and we'll get back to you with a speaker opportunity in case all criteria gets met. And you can connect with us over social media platform to get daily update on event, webinar, boot camps, panel discussion that we often conduct. So you'll be getting daily update, real-time update along with the webinar links, joining links. Also, we do have WhatsApp community group where we'll be announcing all the new launches on certification programs. So please connect with us over social media and stay connected with all the new updates in the GSDC. And thank you so much everyone for joining us today. We look forward to have you all join for all our upcoming sessions as well. Thank you, Dimitar. We'll see you again. Bye bye, everyone. Take care.